In this class, we are going to talk about partial variation. What exactly do we mean by partial variation? Partial variation refers to a relationship between variables where one changes when another changes, with some constant being added. So when we talk about partial variation, we are talking about a kind of variation whereby a variable varies. It is partly constant and partly varies with another variable. You understand? That is, when another variable changes, that variable changes, and that same variable also varies with a constant. You understand? Are you getting it? Now, having understand what is meant by partial variation, let us look at some work example. The cost of maintaining a car is partly constant and partly varies with the distance traveled in a given month. Now, listen to that question. Listen very carefully. The cost of maintaining a car is partly constant and partly varies. You can see now, a part of the cost of maintaining the car is partly constant. Are you getting it? And another part partly varies. Are you getting it? So when we're talking about kind of variation, when we're talking about partial variation, we are talking about a single variable. It varies. Part of it is constant, and part of it varies with another variable. You get what I'm trying to say? So that is exactly what we mean by partial variation. Okay. So let's look at some work example. Y is partly constant and partly varies as x. When x is 2, y equals to 16. And when x is 7, y equals to 13. Find y in terms of y is partly constant. A y is partly constant. So I'm going to represent that constant as a letter. You understand what I'm saying? So let us represent the constant as a c. Y is partly constant and partly varies as x. Are you getting it? This same y partly varies as x. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? This same y is partly constant and this same y partly varies as x. So y varies as x. Now listen to me carefully. I want to make sure that you understand this concept. Okay? Don't forget our definition of partial variation. In simple terms, in partial variation, we are dealing with a single variable, which part of it is constant and part of it varies with another variable. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Now go back to the question. We are told that y is partly constant. So y is partly constant and y is partly varies as another variable, which is x. Are you getting it? Now listen to me. If I want to write a single expression for y, what am I going to have? I'm going to have y. Okay, before that, let us change these variation signs to an equals to sign. As we have learnt in our direct, indirect, and joint variation, we are going to have y equals to kx, right? Yes. So now, if I want to write a single expression for y, what am I going to have? I'm going to have this y equals to c plus kx. Do you understand? Now, take for instance, let's say I have 20,000 naira and I have two sisters and I want to share this 20,000 naira among the two sisters. So I decide to give one 15,000 naira and I decide to give one 5,000 naira. If I want to write out the simple a single value for the amount of money that I give them, what am I going to have? I'm going to have 20,000 naira equals to what? 15,000 naira plus 5,000 naira. Is that not it? Which is equivalent to the total amount of money that I gave to both of them. Is that not it? So that is the same. That's the same thing I did here. A part of y is constant and a part of y varies with another variable x. And we have learned in our previous class that if you are to change these variation signs to an equals to sign, you are going to introduce a proportionality constant. Do you understand? So I have y equals to kx. So if I want to write a single expression for y, I'm going to have y equals to c and y equals to c plus kx. Do you understand? Okay, now let's proceed with the question. We are given that when x equals to 2, when x equals to 2, y equals to 16. And when x equals to 7, y equals to 31. Find y in terms of x. Okay? Find y in terms of x. That's the question. Now, listen to me carefully. before we can find y in terms of x, we need to determine the value of c, we need to determine the value of k. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So let us solve. Now, we have been given 4 values. The first x and y are what? 2 and 16 respectively. And the second x and y are what? 7 and 31 respectively. Let us first substitute the first value of x and y, which are 2 and 16. So when y is 16, I'm going to have 16 is equals to c. We don't know the value of c, okay? So I'm going to have c plus, we don't know the value of k as well, kx. Now x is 2, so I'm going to have 2. Do you understand? So k2, you can write it as 2k, you understand? 2k, okay? That is the first one. Now for the second one, I'm going to have, when x is 7 and y is 31, I'm going to have 31 equals to c plus, now when x is 7, I'm going to have plus 7k. Are you getting it? Now I have 2 equations which can be solved simultaneously, okay? So you can see now that you still need simultaneous equation, the knowledge of your simultaneous equation in this concept, partial variation. So if you are not part of the previous class, there are some classes that I've already done here. Make sure you watch those classes, okay? You can check the playlist. Now let us proceed to solve this equation simultaneously to get the value of c and k. For this, I'm going to have 16 equals to c plus 2k. Let's combine both equations. And 31 equals to what? C plus 7k. Now, listen to me carefully. In solving this equation, you can solve it using elimination method, substitution method, or graphical method. But here, I'm going to use elimination method. Do you understand? Okay? If I want to use elimination method, I can easily eliminate c, call this equation 1 and call this equation 2. I can easily eliminate c by subtracting equation 2 from equation 1, okay? So let us do that. For this, I'm going to have, put a minus sign. 16 minus 31, that is what? Minus 15, right? Minus 15 equals to c minus c. C minus c is what? 0, okay? 2k minus 7k. What's the answer? That is minus 5k. I'm going to have minus 5k. Now to get the value of k, I'm going to divide both sides by what? Negative 5. So I'm going to have this over negative 5 and this over negative 5. So the value of k is equals to 3, okay? Now, having gotten the value of k as 3, we cannot get the value of c by substituting the value of k into any of the equation, okay? So which equation should we use? Should we use equation 1 or equation 2? Well, I'm going to use equation 1. Do you understand? Okay? Equation 1 is 16 equals to c plus 2k. Okay? Let us substitute the value of k as 3. I'm going to have 16 equals to c plus 2 multiplied by 3, right? So 16 equals to c plus 6. Okay? Now, for let's like times, I'm going to have 16 minus 6 equals to c. So c equals to 10, right? So now the value of k equals to 3 and the value of c equals to 10. Don't forget the question. The question we are asked to express find y in terms of x. That's the question. Find y in terms of x. Okay. Let us replace the value of c and k as 3 and 10 respectively. Okay, I'm going to have the equation as y equals to c, which is 10, the constant, plus k. The k is now 3. I'm going to have 3x. So, expressing y in terms of x is this. Because now y is equals to 10 plus 3x. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? The meaning of that statement is that you have to make y the subject of the relation, and that's the expression that we are asked to actually determine. Okay, so you can see that in solving questions involving partial variation, it is very crucial that you know how to solve simultaneous linear equation. Okay, so maybe you are not vast with it, like you didn't understand how to solve some. You didn't understand how to solve simultaneous equation. You can check the channel. Okay, so when you are dealing with partial fraction and partial variation, you are going to have a single variable, which part of it is constant, and another part of it varies with respect to another variable. Okay, the single expression for that variable will be y equals to the constant plus that part of it that varies. Are you getting it? So we are going to be given some values. We're going to insert it, then solve it simultaneously to get the value of the constant and the value of the constant and the proportionality constant that you introduce. Okay, so and then having done that, you can do anything that they ask you to do. Okay, now before we go, let us look at one more example. Okay, let's look at one more example. The quantity y is partly constant and partly varies as the square of x. Write down the relationship between x and y. When x equals to 1, y equals to 11. And when x equals to 2, y equals to 5. Find the value of y when x equals to 4. Okay? Now, let us write out the information that you are given in the question. We are given that a variable, the quantity y is partly constant. So, y is partly constant. Okay? Y is partly constant. And the same y, that same y is partly varies as the square, is partly varies as the square of x. Okay? So, this is the first mathematical interpretation of the first question. Now, if you want to write a single expression for y, you are going to have, okay, let us first change this variation sign. Change this variation sign, you're going to have y equals to kx squared. Now, write a single expression for y, you're going to have y equals to this c plus kx squared plus kx squared. That is a single expression that you will write for y. Now, listen to me. If you are solving this in exam, listen. The reason why I wrote y in this form is, in these two forms, is because I'm explaining. So that if I just jump into this, you might be wondering that how do I got here? Okay, now if I'm solving this in the exam, I'm just going to proceed like this. Okay, I'm not going to put this. Are you getting it? But because I'm explaining, I want you to understand. That's why I delve into this. Okay, are you getting it? So that you will not be wondering that how do I derive this? Okay, so now having gotten this equation, we are asked to write down the relationship between x and y. Before we can write down the relationship, we need to get the value of c and k. Okay, please listen to the explanation again. See, you need to get the value of c and k. Are you getting it? So now, to get the value of c and k, we need to first solve question number 2. Question 1b, which is find when x equals to 1. That is question b now. When x equals to 1, y equals to 11. When x equals to 2, y equals to 5. Okay? Find y when x equals to 4. Okay, let's proceed. Now, in this equation that you are given, let us first replace x as 1 and y as 11. For this, I'm going to have 11, which is y. Listen, y is 11 now. 11 equals to c plus k. K is, we don't know k, and x is what? 1. So c plus 1 multiplied by k. 1 times k is what? Listen to me carefully. X is 1. If you substitute x as 1 here, 1 square is what? 1. 1 times k is what? K. So 11 equals to c plus k. Are you getting it? Now for the second question, now we have x equals to 2, yes, y equals to 5. So I'm going to have 5, which is y, equals to c plus, now when x equals to 2, I'm going to have 2 raised to the power of 2, right? Yes, 2 raised to the power of 2 is what? 4. So I'm going to have 4k. Do you understand? Okay, now we have two equations which can be solved simultaneously. So I'm going to have 11 equals to c plus a. And, well, you can interchange this thing to me carefully. You can write down the equation like this. You can write down the equation like this. C plus k equals to 11 and c plus 4k equals to 5. Do you understand? Okay, now we can eliminate c by subtracting, let's call this equation 2 and let's call this equation 1. We can eliminate c by subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. Okay, so for this I'm going to have, put minus, c minus c, that is what? 0. Okay, k minus 4k, that is 1k minus 4k. What's the answer? Minus 3k. Minus 3k equals to now 11 minus 5, that is 6, equals to 6. So the values are minus 3, this over minus 3. K equals to minus 2, okay? Now, we've gotten the value of K as minus 2. We can get the value of C by substituting the value of K into any of these equations, okay? Let's use the first equation, right? 11 equals to C plus K, okay? So, when K is minus 2, I'm going to have 11 equals to C plus minus 2, right? So 11 equals to C minus 2. Now, take this negative 2 to the other side. I'm going to have 11 plus 2 equals to C. C equals to 11 plus 2. C equals to 13. Okay? So the value of C and K are 13 and negative 2 respectively. Now, come back to the relationship that come back to this and substitute the value of C as 13 and K as minus 2. I'm going to have Y equals to C plus K squared. Now, when C is 13, I'm going to have Y equals to 13 plus K. Oh, sorry, it's not Kx, it's Kx squared. Kx squared, okay? Now, K is negative 2. I'm going to have minus 2, then x squared, multiply x squared. So I'm going to have Y equals to 13 minus 2x squared. Okay, so the relationship that we have, the first question that we have to write down the relationship that exists between x and y. This is the relationship, you understand? What you see here is the relationship that exists between x and y. Y is equals to 13 minus 2x squared, okay? Now, the question does not stop there. You can see that we've been able to solve question number 1, which is question A. Write out the relationship that exists between x and y. This is the relationship, question A. Now, let us proceed to, we are not done with question B. I just moved to question A. We are not done with question B. Question B is that we are asked to find the value of y when x is 4, okay? Now, we have gotten the value of k as negative 2 and c as 13. Now, when x is 4, we can get the value of y. All you have to do is that just substitute the value of x, just substitute the value of the given x into this relationship. You know, the relationship is y equals to 13 minus 2x squared. Now, we are given that x is 4, so I'm going to have y equals to 13 minus 2 multiplied by 4 squared, okay? Y equals to 13 minus 2. Now, 4 squared is what? 16, right? Yes. So, I'm going to have minus 2 times 16. Minus 2 times 16 is what? 32 minus 32. Do you understand? Okay. Is there? Do you have any question? Okay. In the absence of question, 13 minus 32, that will give us negative 19. Do you understand? Okay. So the value of y equals to negative 19 when x is 2. When x is 4. Okay. When x is 4, y equals to negative 19. You understand? So now I want to do something now. Let me give you, let's say the question will say determine the value of y when x is 2. When x is 2. When x is 2, what is the value of y? You can easily get the value of y by substituting the value of x as 2. Okay. What if x is 6? All you have to do is that just plug in the value of x as 6 and get the value of y. Do you understand? And what if the question now says determine the value of x when y is another thing? Are you getting it? So it's simple. Okay, just understand the basic concept. Okay, so that is the solution to that question. Let's consider this question on partial variation. S is partly constant and partly varies with t. When s is equals to 530, t is equals to 1600. When s is equals to 730, t is equals to 3600. Find A, the formula connecting s and t, the value of s when t is equals to 1300. Okay, so we are given that s is partly constant. So s is partly constant and partly varies with t. So partly varies with t. So for this, I'm going to have s is equals to c plus kt. You understand? Listen to me. This first expression that you see here means that S is partly constant, and I can write it like this: S is partly varies as T. You can see now. So S equals to C, which is the constant, and this same S is equals to T. Varies as T. So if I want to change this variation signs to an equals to sign, I'm going to introduce a proportionality constant. Okay. So I'm going to have S equals to KT. Are you getting it? Now, we have two expressions for S, which is 1, and this is 2. If I want to write a single expression for S, I'm going to have S equals to C plus KT. You understand? Let's say you are given 50,000 naira. You are given 50,000 naira, and you are asked to share this 50,000 naira among 2 students. You understand? Now, if you give the first student 20,000 naira, that means that you are giving the second student 30,000 naira, right? Is that not it? Yes. So now, if you want to write a single expression for the total amount of money that you shared, you are going to have 50,000 naira. 50,000 naira is equals to 20,000 naira plus 30,000 naira. That is the same thing. You understand? A part of the money is this, and a part of the money is this. If you want to write a single expression, you're going to have this. So it's the same thing I did here. S is partly constant and S is partly varies as T. You understand? So a single expression for S is S equals to C plus KT. Do you understand? Okay. Now, we are given that when S is equals to 530, T is equals to 1600, right? Yes. And then when S is equals to 730, T is equals to 3600. We have to find the formula connecting S and T. Okay. Well, to get the formula connecting S and T, we need to get the value of the constant, which is C, and the value of the proportionality constant, which is K. And to get those values, we have to substitute each value of S and T into this equation. So I'm going to have, for this value of S, which is 530, I'm going to have 530 is equals to C. We don't know the value of C. C plus KT. We don't know the value of K, but we are given the value of T as 1600. So I'm going to have plus 1600K. Do you understand? Okay, for the second question, we have the value of S as 730. So I'm going to have 730 is equals to C plus, now we have the value of T as 3600. Okay, so I'm going to replace that value, the value of T here as 3600. So I'm going to have 3600K. So we can combine both equations and solve simultaneously. Okay, so I'm going to have C plus 1600K, yes, equals to 530, right? So C plus 3600K is equals to 730. Okay, we can solve this using any of the method that I listed, any method, but I'm going to use the elimination method because that's the easiest one. That's the that gave us the first answer. We can get our answer directly. So C minus C is what? 0, right? I want to eliminate C. Okay, C minus C is 0. 1600 minus 3600, that is what? Minus 2000K. 1600K minus 3600K, that is minus 2000K, equals to 530 minus 730, that is 200. Okay, so divide both sides by minus 2000. This over minus 2000. Okay, so K is equals to 2 over 20. 2 over 20. And 2 over 20 is the same thing as 1 over 10. You reduce the fraction to the lowest term. K equals to 1 over 10. Okay, now having gotten the value of K, we can get the value of C by substituting the value of K into any of the given, any of this equation. Okay, so let us use equation 1. Okay, let's substitute the value of K into equation 1. So for this, we are going to have equation 1 is C plus 1600K equals to 530. This is equation 1, 6 plus 1600K equals to 530. Okay, now when K is 1 over 10, I'm going to have C plus 1600 multiplied by 1 over 10 is equals to 530, right? Okay, now this 0, this 10 can eliminate this. I'm going to have c plus 160 is equals to 530. Do you understand what I'm doing at all? 1600 divided by 10, that will give us 160, right? So that is how I got 160 in that place. Okay, so having gotten to that point, you can get the value of c by collecting like terms. You understand? You have to take that 160 to the other side of the equation. So I'm going to have c is equals to 530 minus 160. 530 minus 160, that is c equals to 370. Okay, so having gotten the value of c as 370, we can go back to this equation. Are you getting it? You can go back to this equation and replace the value of c and t as c and k, c and k as 370 and 1 over 10 respectively. So I'm going to have s. The equation connecting them is s equals to c, which is 370, plus k. What is k? 1 over 10. And 1 over 10 multiplied by t, right? Okay, which is s equals to 370 plus t over 10. So the equation connecting s and t is 370 plus t over 10. Do you understand? Okay, having gotten the equation connecting them, we can now proceed to calculate the second question. Okay, the second question is that we should find the value of s when t is 1300. Well, to get the value of s when t equals to 1300, don't forget that s is what? 370 plus t over 10. S is equals to 370 plus t over 10. Now, when t is 1300, I'm going to have s equals to 370 plus 1300 over 10, right? So I'm going to have s equals to 370 plus 130, right? Do you understand? Okay. Now for this, I'm going to have s equals to, now 370 plus 130, that is 500, right? So s equals to 500. Do you understand? Okay, so that is the solution to that question. Let's look at one more example. The charge C of a telephone complaint is partly constant and partly varies as the numbers of units of call U. The cost of 50 units is 2,500 naira and the cost of 120 units is 3,000 naira. Find A, the formula connecting C and U, and U when C equals to 4,000 naira. Okay, let's interpret the question mathematically. We are given that the charge C of a telephone company is partly constant. So let's say solution. We have C is constant. So C equals to, let's use A as the constant. The charge C is partly constant. And this same charge is partly varies as the numbers of units called. So C is partly varies as the numbers of units called U. Do you understand? Listen to the explanation again. The question says the charge C of a telephone component is partly constant. So a part of C is constant. So I represent the constant as A. Are you getting it? So now that same C partly varies as the numbers of units called, and we represent it as U. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Okay. The cost of 50 units is 2,500 naira. Okay. So the cost of 50 units, when the unit is 50, when U equals to 50, the charge is 2,500 naira, right? Yes. And then when the unit is 120, when U is 120, the charge is 3,000 naira. Now we are asked to find the formula connecting C and U. Okay. Now let's go back to the first question. a part of C is constant and a part of C varies partly as U. Now, let us first change this variation sign to an equals to sign. And because this is a variation sign, in an attempt to change this variation sign to an equals to sign, we're going to introduce a proportionality constant, okay? So I'm going to have C equals to KU. So C is partly constant and C partly varies as U. So if I want to write a single expression for C, listen, it's simple. If I want to write a single expression for C, I'm going to have C equals to A, which is the constant, plus KU. Let me explain. Let's say I shared a sum of money. Let's say I shared 20,000 naira between two people. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Maybe between two people. Between A and B. I shared 20,000 naira between A and B, and I shared the money equally, 20,000 naira. I shared it between these two people. Now that means that each of them is going to receive 10,000 naira, right? Are you getting it? So A will receive 10,000 naira, and B will also receive 10,000 naira. Now, if I want to write a single expression for the total amount of money that I shared, that will be what? 20,000 naira equals to 10,000 naira plus 10,000 naira. That's the same thing. A part of C goes to A, and a part of C is equals to KU. If I want to write a single expression for C, I'm going to have C equals to A plus KU. Do you understand? Okay. Now, this equation that you see here is what we are going to use to find the value of the constant and the proportionality constant. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? We need the value of A and K before we can find the equation connecting, before we can find the formula connecting C and U. So now, from the information that we have been given in the question, we are given that when the U is 50, C is 2,500 naira. So I'm going to have, let's first derive our equation. C is 2,500 naira. So I'm going to have 2,500 naira equals to, now, we don't know the value of A, right? Yes. A plus, now, K is unknown as well. But U has been given, which is 50. So I'm going to have 50K. Call this one equation 1. Now for the second one, we have C. C is also 3,000 naira. So I'm going to have 3,000 is equals to, we don't know the value of A as well. A plus, okay. Now U is now 120. So I'm going to have 120K. Call this one equation 2. Now from this point, we can find the value of K. You can determine the value of K and A by solving the equation simultaneously. Do you understand? Okay, we can use elimination method to solve it, to solve this equation. Just subtract equation 2 from equation 1. So I'm going to have now 2,500 naira. Listen, 2,500 naira minus 3,000. I'm going to have negative 500, right? Yes. Negative 500 is equals to A minus A. That is 0, Abi. Now 50. Listen, 50 minus 120. That would be what? 70, right? So I'm going to have minus 70K. Do you understand? Okay, now having gotten to this point, we can easily find the value of K by dividing both sides by negative 70. Do you understand? Okay, 500 naira, 500 divided by negative 70. I'm going to have 7 points. Well, let's go. This over negative 70 and this over negative 70. So the value of K is equals to, you can put it in decimal, 7.142. 7.142. So the value of K approximately is 7. Okay. So having gotten the value of K as 7, we can get the value of C by substituting the value of K into any of this equation. Okay. So let us make use of equation 1. Equation 1 is 2,500 naira. 2,500 is equals to A plus 50K. Now, when K is 7.142, I'm going to have 2,500 is equals to A plus 50 multiplied by 7.142, right? Yes. Now, from this point, just make A the subject of the formula. So I'm going to have A plus Now 50 multiplied by 7.142. 7.142. That is 357.1. So I'm going to have A plus 357.1 is equals to 2,500. Okay, A equals to 2,500 minus 357.1. So A equals to, okay, subtract this from this, minus, that is A equals to 2,142.9. Okay, so you can approximate to nearest whole number, that is 243. Now, having gotten the value of A and K, you can now substitute the value of A as these values and the value of K as this value into this equation. That will give us the formula connecting K and U. I mean, the formula connecting C and U. Do you understand? So C, the formula connecting, that's the first question. C equals to A is 2143 plus KU. K is what? 7 or 7.142. So you can put it 7.142 U. Okay, so this is the formula connecting C and U. Now, having gotten the formula connecting C and U, we can proceed to the second question. In the second question, we are asked to find the value of U when C is 4,000 naira. Okay, now since we've known the formula connecting C and U, just substitute the value of U, substitute the value of C as 4,000, then calculate the value of U. Okay, and that's what I'm going to do now. So C is what? For the second question, C is now 4,000. So I'm going to have 4,000 is equals to 2,143 plus 7.142 U. Okay, now I'm going to have 7.142 U equals to 4,000 minus 2,143, right? Yes, because if you take this to the other side of the equation, it's going to change to negative, right? If you take this 2,143 to the left hand side of the equation, you're going to have negative 2,143. Okay, so by transposition, I just take this here and I put this here. Do you understand? Okay, now 4,000 minus 2,143, that is 1,857. I'm going to have U 7.142 U equals to 1,857. Okay, to get the value of U, divide both sides by 7.142, this over 7.142. So U is equals to 7.142, that is 260. Okay, so when the when the charge is 4,000 naira, the unit is 260. Okay, so that is the solution to that question. So if you are given any question on partial derivation in exam, first learn how to interpret the question mathematically. Okay, and then when you are done with that, with respect to the values that you are given, just derive your equation and then do what they ask you to do in the question. Okay, do you understand? Okay, let's look at one more question. The cost, listen, the cost of servicing a car is partly constant and partly varies with the time it takes to do the work. It costs 2,500 naira for 2 hours service and 4,000 naira for 3.5 hours service. Find the formula connecting the cost C and the time T. And the second question under that question, we are asked to find T. We are asked to find T when C equals to 7,500 naira. Okay, from the question, we are given that the cost of servicing a car is partly constant. Okay, so C is partly constant. Let us represent the constant as A. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Let us represent the constant as A. So C is partly constant and partly varies with the time it takes to do the work. So C partly varies with the time it takes to do the work. It costs 2,500 naira for 2 hour service. So when the cost is 2,500 naira, the time taken, the time taken to do the cost, or when the cost is 2,500 naira, the time is 2 hours, okay? And when the cost is 4,000 naira, you can see how I'm interpreting the question. The time taken to do the job is 3.5 hours, right? Yes, 3.5 hours. Now we are asked to find the formula connecting C and T. Now, how do we find the formula connecting C and T? It's simple. Now, don't forget the previous example that I did. We want to write a single, okay, we can change this to C equals to KT. Do you understand? Okay, now, if you want to write a single expression for C, you are going to have C equals to the constant, and the sum of the constant and this KT. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? So I'm going to have C equals to A plus KT. Are you getting it? If you didn't understand what you are doing in this class, that means you missed the previous class. So I admonish you to maybe you can check the channel and watch those classes, okay? So C equals to A plus KT. Now, with respect to the information that we've been given, we can easily find the value of A and K. Okay, so when the C is 2,500 naira, I'm going to have 2,500 equals to A. We don't know the value of A plus K. We are given the time as 2 hours, so I'm going to have 2K, sorry, 2K. K is the proportionality constant, okay? So now for the second values that are given, when the C is 4,000, we don't know the value of A plus 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours can be written as 3.5. 3.5 hours. It can be written as 3.5. So I'm going to have 3.5K. Do you understand? Okay, because 3 times 2 is 6. 6 plus 1, 7. 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. Do you understand? Okay, I just change this to improper fraction and then change it to decimal. Now, with respect to what we have here, you see, what I want to do now is that I want to find the value of A and K, because I cannot solve any question without knowing the value of the constant and the proportionality constant. Okay, so I want to get the value of A and K, and to get the value of A and K, we've been given some values of C and T. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? By using those values, I get this equation. This equation can be solved simultaneously. Are you getting it? To get the value of A and K. So we can use elimination method by subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. So, okay, equation 2 minus equation 1. Let's go. 2,500 minus 4,000 naira. I'm going to have 1,000 minus 1,500, right? Negative 1,500 equals to A minus A. We are subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. Don't forget. A minus A, that is 0, right? We have already eliminated A. Now, 2K minus 3.5K. That will give us minus 1.5K, right? Minus 1.5K. Okay? With respect to what we have here, we can get the value of K by dividing both sides by minus 1.5. So, this over minus 1.5 and this over minus 1.5, right? So, the value of K is equals to, okay, 1.5, listen to me, 1.5 divided by, negative 1.5 divided by negative 1.5, that will give us 1,000, right? Yes. So the value of K is 1,000, okay? So having gotten the value of K as 1,000, we can get the value of C by substituting the value of K into any of these equations. Let us make use of equation 1. Equation 1 is 2,500 naira, 25 equals to A plus 2K, right? Yes. Now, when K is 1,000, I'm going to have 25 equals to A plus 2 multiplied by 1,000. Don't forget, right? So, for example, I'm going to have 2,500 equals to A plus 2000. Do you understand? Okay, now to make A the subject of the formula, I'm going to have A equals to 2500 naira minus 2000. Okay, so A equals to 500. A equals to 500. So the value of the constant is what? 500. And the value of K, which is the proportionality constant, is 1000. Now, having gotten the value of A and K, we cannot proceed to solve the first question under that question. The first question is to find the formula connecting C and T. Well, to get the formula connecting C and T, we are going to use this relationship. Are you getting it? This is the relationship that exists between C and T. So I'm going to replace C. I'm going to replace A as 500 and K as 1000 in this formula. By so doing, we have already gotten the formula connecting C and T. So let's do that. For this, I'm going to have, let me change this marker. So for this, we are going to have C equals to A. A is 500, so I'm going to have 500 plus K. K is 1000, so I'm going to have 1000 T. Okay, this is the formula connecting C and T. Now, for the second question, we are asked to find T when C is 7500 naira. Okay, so C is 7500. Okay, let me just explain. Now listen, we are asked to find C and T when C is 7500. Yes, to get that, to get the value of T when C is 7500, all you have to do is that just substitute the value of C as 7500 in this relationship. You understand? So we solve for the value of T. So I'm going to have, when C is 7500, I'm going to have 7500 is equals to 500 plus 1000 T, right? Yes. Okay. Take this 500 to the other side. I'm going to have 7500 minus 500 is equals to 1000 T. Yes. So this minus this, I'm going to have 7000. 7000 equals to 1000 T. Okay. Divide both sides by 1000 to get the value of T. So I'm going to have T equals to 7. Now, because we are dealing with time and the time is in hours, so that will be 7 hours. Do you understand? Okay, T equals to 7 hours. So you can see that it's simple. Partial derivation is simple. Okay, you just have to learn how to interpret the question that you are given. After doing that, the rest is solved. Okay, so in solving question involving partial derivation, the first step is that you have to interpret the question mathematically, just like I did. Then you write a single expression for the variable that you are given, which is this. Now, this expression is the relationship that exists between the variable that you are given. Now, having done that, with respect to the value that you are given in the question, construct a simultaneous equation, then solve for the value of the constant and the proportionality constant that was introduced where you are interpreting the question. So when you are done with that, you can proceed to solve any values. Okay. Now, before you go, I want to do something now. I want to find the value of C when T is 3. That's what I'm trying to say. Find the value of the cost when T is 3 hours. Okay, so that's the question. Drop your answers in the comment section. Okay, let's consider this question on partial variation. The cost of catering for guests in a party is partly constant and partly varies inversely with the numbers of guests. If the cost per guest for 40 guests is 600 naira and for 50 guests is 500 naira, find A, the connection between C and G. That is the connection between the cost of catering for the guest and the guest. And B, the value of C when G is 100. Okay, now let's interpret the question mathematically. Please kindly pay attention. The cost of catering for guests in a party is partly constant. So let's represent the cost as C. So I'm going to have C equals to, okay, let's use the constant A. C equals to A. And partly varies inversely with the numbers of guests. So C partly varies inversely with the numbers of guests. So let us represent the numbers of guests as G. Do you understand? Okay. If the cost per guest for 40 guests is 600 naira. Okay, the cost per guest for 40 guests, cost per guest for 40 guests is 600 naira. Okay, now the cost per guest for 50 guests, the cost per guest for 50 guests is 500 naira, right? Okay, now we have to find the connection between C and G. Now before we can solve any question, it's very important for us to derive our relationship. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? We need to get the relationship between C and G. Now look at the first statement. C is partly constant and C is also partly varies as it partly varies inversely as G. Okay, now if you want to change this variation sign to an equals to sign, what are you going to do? You have to introduce a proportionality constant, right? Yes. So I'm going to have C equals to K all over G. You understand? Okay. Now, when you get, having gotten to this point, the next step is that you have to write a single expression for C. Okay, this is what I mean. Listen to the explanation again. Now, a part of C varies as a constant. We represent the constant as A because we don't know the constant. Are you getting it? Now, a part of G also varies inversely. A part of C also varies inversely as G. Are you getting it? So, if I want to write a single expression for C, I'm going to have C equals to A, which is the part, plus K over G. Do you understand? Okay, that this one that you see here is a single expression for C. Are you getting it? Let me use another example. Let's say you share 20 mangoes. You share 20 mangoes between two people. 20 mangoes. You share 20 mangoes between two people. Now, let's say between A and B, you share 20 mangoes between A and B. Now, you gave A 10. You gave A 10 mangoes. Then you gave B as well 10 mangoes. If you want to write a single expression for the total numbers of mangoes that you share, you are going to have 20 mangoes is equals to 10 mangoes plus what? Plus 10 mangoes, right? That's the same thing. A part of C varies as a constant, and a part of C also varies inversely as another variable G. Are you getting it? So that's why I have C equals to K over G and C equals to A. A single expression for the C is A plus KG. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? A plus K over G. Now, having done that, let's go back to the statement that we are given in the question. Before we can solve any question, you have to find the value of A, which is the constant, and K, which is the proportionality constant. Do you understand? Okay. So from what we have been given, the cost per guest for 40 guests, listen to the explanation, pay attention to the details of the question. The cost per guest for 40 guests is 600 naira. So the cost of a single guest is 600 naira. So now we are entertaining 40 guests. What is the total cost? That will be what? 40 times 600, right? So please, I hope you understand what I'm doing at all. If you don't understand, call my attention, okay? If you don't understand, let me know. Now, the cost per guest, the cost of a single guest is 600 naira. Now, we are entertaining 40 guests. That means I'm going to have 40 times 600, right? That is 24,000 naira. So, the C is 24,000 naira. 24,000 naira, yes. When the guest is 40. Are you getting it? Now, for the second statement, we have the cost per guest for 50 guests is 500 naira. That is the cost of each guest. So, when we entertained 50 guests is 500 naira. So, that means that the cost will be, this is the single cost for a single guest. Now, we are entertaining 50 guests. I'm going to have 50 times 500. Okay. So, 50 times 500 is what? That will be 25,000. Abi? Yes, 25,000. So I'm going to have 25,000 for when the guest is what? 50. Okay, you can see how I interpreted the question. if you didn't pay attention to the details of the question, you might got the answer wrong. Okay, so don't go and use 600 naira equals to 40. Don't go. If you use that, you're not going to get the correct answer. Okay, so now we can now solve for the value of a and k. Are you getting it? We can solve for the value of a and k by using this information that we have here. Now, when the C is 24,000 naira, put naira, yes? Put naira. When the C is 24,000 naira, we are going to have 24,000 equals to A. We don't know the value of A plus K over G. Now, the G is what? 40. I'm going to have all over 40. Call this one equation 1. Now, when the cost is 25,000 naira, I'm going to have 25,000 naira equals to A plus K over 50, because when the cost is 25,000 naira, the G is what? The request is 50. Are you getting it? So call this one equation 2. Now, when you got here, this thing, the next step is to subtract equation 2 from equation 1. Are you getting it? So we want to solve this equation simultaneously so that we can get the value of k. Are you getting it? And we can use elimination method by subtracting equation 2 from equation 1. Okay, so I'm going to have 24,000 naira minus 25,000 naira. What's the answer? That is what? Negative 1,000, right? Yes. Minus 1,000 equals to A minus A. That is what? 0, right? Now, k over 40 minus k over 50. Let's do it. K over 40. K over 40 minus k over 50. K over 40 minus k over 50, right? The LCM is what? 40 times 50. That is what? 2,000, right? Yes. So the LCM is 2,000. I'm going to have 2,000. Okay, 2,000 divided by 40. That is what? 50. 50 times k. That is what? 50k minus 2,000 divided by 50, that is what? 40. 40 times minus k, that is what? 40k. So I'm going to have 10k all over 2,000, right? Okay. So here I'm going to have 10k all over 2,000. Okay. I just show you the steps so that we know that we just take the LCM and then. So if you subtract k over 40, k over 50 from k over 40, we're going to have 10k all over 2,000. And you can even reduce it, okay? You can reduce it. This 0 will cancel this 0. You are left with what? K over 200, right? Do you understand? So I'm going to have minus 1,000 is equals to K over 200, okay? You can take the cross multiplication. Do you understand? Okay? 200 multiplied by 1,000. That is what? Minus 200,000 equals to K. So the value of K is equals to minus 200,000. Now, having gotten the value of k as negative 200,000, you can proceed to get the value of a by substituting the value of k into any of these equations. Okay, let us use equation 1. Equation 1 is 24,000 equals to a plus k over 40. Do you understand? Now, when k is negative 200,000, okay, negative 200,000, I'm going to have 24,000 equals to a plus negative 200,000 all over 40. You understand? Okay. Now 200,000 divided by 40. That is 5,000, right? Yes. So I'm going to have 24,000. Sorry, let me write it very well. 24,000 equals to a plus minus 5,000. Do you understand? Let me explain. Let me write it. Oh, let me write this very well. Minus 5,000. So for this, I'm going to have 24,000 is equals to a minus 5,000. Okay. Now, if you want to get the value of a, you take this negative 5,000 to the other side. I'm going to have 24,000 plus 5,000 equals to a. So a equals to 29,000. 29,000. Okay, so the constant A is equals to 29,000. Now we've gotten the value of the constant as 29,000. To get the equation connecting C and G, just substitute the value of A as 29,000 and the value of K as negative 200,000 into the equation that you are given. Are you getting it? And also, to get the value of C when G is 100, just replace G as 100 in the above equation, okay? So that is how to solve that question. And you can see that from the previous example that we did, that is how we do it. Do you understand? Okay, if you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Let's consider this question on variation. The force E needed to make a machine pull a load is partly constant and partly varies as the load L to be pulled. For a load of 20 kg, the force needed is 14 Newton, while a 20 Newton force is needed for a load of 30 kg. Find A, the formula connecting E and L. B, E when L is 50 kg. Okay, let's interpret the question mathematically. We are told that the force E needed to make a machine pull. Please pay attention. Let us represent the force as F. You understand? The force E needed to make a machine pull a load is partly constant. So F is partly constant. So now, because it is partly constant, we don't know the constant, right? So let us represent the constant as A. You understand? So F equals to A. Don't forget that A is the constant. Now, the F is also the same thing. F is also partly varies as the load L to be pulled. So partly varies as the load L to be pulled. You get what I'm trying to say? F is partly constant. The same F, the force, is also partly varies as the load. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Okay? For a load of 20 kg, okay? For a load of 20 kg, when the load is 20 kg, okay? Let's do it like this. When L is equals to 20 kg, the force needed is 14 Newton. So the force needed to pull a load of 20 kg is 14 Newton. You understand? And for a load of 20 Newton force is needed for a load of 30 kg. So the force needed to pull a load of 30 kg is 20 Newton. Okay, so we have to calculate the formula connecting E and L. We have to calculate the formula connecting E and L. Effort. We have to calculate the formula connecting E and L. Okay, now they want us to represent the force as E. You understand? So let us change it. Let's use it as E and E. From the question, they want us to represent the force as E. Do you understand? So they've given us specification as to what parameters we should represent with E. It is the effort. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Effort is also the same thing as the force. Okay, so now the formula connecting E and L. To get the formula connecting E and L, we need to know the value of this constant. I get what I'm trying to say, and we also need to change these variation signs to equals to sign. So that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now let us change these variation signs to an equals to sign. Okay, from our basic knowledge of variation in our previous class, if you want to change these variation signs to an equals to sign, we're going to have the effort or the force equals to K multiplied by L. Are you getting it? So effort is also the same. The force is equals to A, and the force is also the same thing. Is equals to K and L. So if I want to write a single expression for the effort or the force, I'm going to have E is equals to A plus KL. Do you understand? Listen to me. Listen to the explanation again. The force is partly constant. I said let the constant be A, and partly varies as the load to be pulled. You understand? So I said it partly varies as the load to be pulled. So that means that if I want to write a single expression for the force, I'm going to have E is equals to the sum of this and this. Are you getting it? So now, with respect to what we have here, we need to calculate the value of A and K. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? We cannot determine the connection, the formula connecting K and L, and the formula connecting E and L without knowing the value of A and K. So that's what I'm going to do now. To get the values of A and K, we can get, we've been given some important information in this place. They say that L equals to 20 kilogram and E equals to 14 Newton. So let us substitute those values into this. E is equals to 14 Newton. I'm going to have 14 Newton is equals to A. We don't know the value of A plus KL. L is what? 20. I'm going to have multiply 20L, right? Now, for the second one, we're going to have E is equals to 20 Newton. I'm going to have 20 Newton is equals to A plus, okay? Now, L is now, oh, this will be 20K. Okay? Now, L is now 30. So I'm going to have 30 multiplied by K. See, what I did is that I substituted the value of L and E into this. I got this equation. Then I substituted the value of L and E into this formula. Then I got this equation. So let us combine both equations. I'm going to have 14 is equals to A plus 20K. This K that you see here is this. Are you getting it? So, and for the second one, we are going to have 20 equals to A plus 30K. Okay, now we can solve this equation simultaneously to get the value of A and K. All you have to do is that just subtract equation 2 from equation 1. So I'm going to have this minus this. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Okay, 14 minus 20, that is what? Minus 6, right? Yes. So I'm going to have minus 6 equals to A minus A. We've already eliminated A like that. A minus A will give us 0. Are you getting it? 20K minus 30K. That's what? Minus 10K. Okay? So to get the value of K, divide both sides by what? Negative 10. So I'm going to have this over negative 10 and this over negative 10. So the value of K is equals to, okay, that will be, reduce this to the lowest term, we're going to have 3 over 5. 3 over 5, okay? So the value of K is equals to 3 over 5. Now, having gotten the value of K, we can proceed to get the value of A by substituting the value of K into any of these equations. So let us make use of equation 1. Equation 1 is 14. Equation 1 is 14. 14 equals to A plus 20K. A plus 20K. Now, when K is 3 over 5, I'm going to have 14 equals to A plus 20 multiplied by 3 over 5. Do you understand? Okay. 14 equals to A plus, now 5 divided by 5 here, 4. 4 times 3 is 12. So I'm going to have A plus 12. So A equals to 14 minus 12, which is A equals to what? 2. Okay. So the value of K is 3 over 5, while the value of A is 2. So we can now write the formula connecting E and L like this. E is equals to A, which is 2, plus K. K is 3 over 5. I'm going to have 3 over 5 L. You understand? That is the formula connecting E and L. Now, having gotten the first question, in the second question, we are asked to, In the second question, we are asked to find the value of we are asked to find the value of E when L is 50 kilogram. This is the first question. The second question, find the value of E when L is equals to 50 kilogram. Now we are asked to find the value of the force when the load is 50 kilogram. Well, to get the value of the force when the load is 50 kilogram, just substitute the value of L into this formula, then get the value of the E. Are you getting it? So E is equals to 2 plus 3 over 5 L. Instead of L, we are going to replace it as 50. Are you getting it? Multiply by 50, right? Yes. So 5 here 1, 5 here 10, right? 10 times 3 is 30. So I'm going to have E equals to 2 plus 30. So 2 plus 30 is 32. I'm going to have E equals to 32 Newton. So when the effort is 50, when the load is 50 kilogram, the force required to pull the load is 32 Newton. Do you understand? Okay, so that is the solution to that question. Let's look at one more example. The resistance R to the motion of a car is partly constant and partly proportional to the square of the speed. When the speed is 30 km per hour, the resistance is 190 newtons. And when the speed is 50 km per hour, the resistance is 350 newton. Okay? Find for what speed the resistance is 302.5. Okay? That is a WAEC question. So I want you to pay attention now. I'm very sure you've written this. Okay. It's simple. You can try it, okay? Try it and give me your answer in the comment section before I solve. Okay. Now, the resistance R to the motion of a car is partly constant. So R is partly constant. Let us represent the constant as C. Okay, R equals to C, and the resistance is also partly proportional to the square of the velocity of the speed. So R is proportional to the square of the speed. V is the speed. So R varies as the square of the speed. Okay. When the speed is 30 km per hour, V equals to 30 km per hour. The resistance is 190 newtons. So R equals to 190 newtons. Now, when the speed is 50 km per hour, V equals to 50 km per hour. The resistance is 350 newtons. 350 newtons. For what speed? Find for what speed the resistance is 302.5 newton. The meaning of that question is that you have to calculate the speed when the resistance is 302.5 newton. So we are looking for the speed when the resistance. Okay, let's represent R as the resistance. When the resistance is 302.5 newton. Okay, now let's proceed to calculate what we have to calculate. Well, before we can do that, we first have to change this variation sign to an equals to sign. So I'm going to have R equals to KV squared. You understand? So we have to write a single expression for R. You understand? Okay. If you have maybe you missed our previous class, I've already explained. Are you guys what I'm trying to say? If you want to write a single expression for R, we are going to add this and this together. So R is equals to C plus KV squared. Do you understand? You see, the same R is partly constant. That is, a part of R is constant and a part of R varies with respect to the square of another variable. Are you getting it? So you can see now. So if you want to write a single expression for R, you're going to have C plus KV squared. Do you understand? Okay, so there is nothing more on partial variation. Just know how to interpret your question. Are you getting it? So now, having done this, we can easily calculate the value of C and K, because we cannot do anything unless we know the value of C and K. Are you getting it? We cannot solve for the value of V unless we know the value of C and K. And with respect to the information that you have been given in the question, with respect to the parameters that you have been given in the question, we can calculate the value of C and K by substituting each of these parameters into this formula. Are you getting it? So now, how is 190 here? I'm going to have 190 equals to C plus, now V is what? 30, right? So I'm going to have V plus 30 squared, C plus 30 squared multiplied by K, right? Yes. And for this, I'm going to have R is 350. I'm going to have 350 plus equals to C plus Now I'm going to have 50 square k. You see this k is here and this c is here. The goals here now is to determine the value of c and k. Are you getting it? So now let's proceed. I can rewrite this equation as 190 equals to c plus now 130 squared. That will give us what? 900, right? I mean 30 squared, sorry. 30 squared will give us 900. So I'm going to have c plus 900k. Do you understand? Okay. And for the next one, I'm going to have 350 is equals to c plus now 50 squared. If you take the square of 50, we are going to have if you take the square of 50, you are going to have 2500. Do you understand? 50 squared means 50 times 50. So I'm going to have 2500 here. Okay. Now, you can call the first equation equation 1, and you can call the second equation equation 2. So this is equation 1 and this is equation 2. Now, subtract the second equation from the first equation to eliminate the value of c and get the value of k. Do you understand? Okay, this one is a simultaneous equation now, and to solve a simultaneous equation, you can use elimination method or substitution method, even graphical method. But because you can just use elimination method here to eliminate the value of c and get the value of k. So if you know you are not competent or you are not fast with simultaneous solving simultaneous linear equation using any of the three methods, kindly check the playlist on this channel. Are you getting it? So let's go. 190, we're going to do it step by step. Okay, 190 minus 350, that is 160, right? So I'm going to have minus 160 equals to c minus c, that is 0. 900 minus 2500, that will give us negative 1600 minus 1600k. Do you understand? Okay, so to get the value of k, the next step is that you have to divide both sides by 1600. So I'm going to have this over negative 1600 and this over negative 1600. Okay, so the value of k here equals to 160 divided by 1600. That will give us 0.1. Do you understand? And you might leave your answer in fraction. You understand? But you can just make use of 0.1, because if you want to leave your answer in fraction, you're going to have 1 over 10. Do you understand? You're going to have 1 over 10. So you can leave your answer in fraction, 1 over 10 or 0.1. Okay, now back to the question. Let us find the value of c. Since we've known the value of k, we can easily determine the value of c by substituting the value of k into any of these equations. So let us make use of equation 1. Equation 1 is 190. 190 equals to c plus 900k. Do you understand? So now 190 is equals to c plus 900 multiplied by 1 over 10, right? Yes. So 190 is equals to c plus 90. Do you understand? Because 900 times 1 is 900. 900 divided by 10 is what? 90. Okay. So you can make c the subject of the formula to get the value of c. So c equals to 190 minus 90. Okay. So c equals to 100. Now we've gotten the value of c and k. So we can rewrite this equation that you see here. This formula that you see here can be we can write it as r equals to c, which is 100, plus kv. What is k? K is 1 over 10 or 0.1. So just use 0.1 v squared. Okay. Now don't forget the goals. Our goals. We are told to look for the value. Please, I'm coming. I'm trying to get the question now. Okay, we are asked to look for the speed. Okay, for the speed when the resistance is 302.5. So you can easily determine the speed now. The resistance is what? 302.5. So I'm going to have 302.5 equals to 100 plus. You see, what I'm doing now is that I'm substituting the value of R as 302.5 into this connection. Are you getting it? This one that you see here is the formula connecting both R and V. That is, at any given value of R, I can get the speed, and at any given value of the speed, I can get the R. You understand? So this is the formula connecting both R and V. Now when R is equals to 302.5 Newton, I'm going to have 302.5, which is R, equals to 100, which is the constant that I got, plus 0.1 multiplied by V squared. Do you understand? Okay, 302.5 minus 100 equals to 0.1 V squared. What I did is that I just take this 100 to the left hand side of the equation, so I got the negative sign. Now for this, subtract this from this, I'm going to have 202.5 equals to 0.1 V squared. To get the value of V, first divide this by 0.1. 202.5, okay, 202.5 divided by 0.1, that is 2025, okay, 2025 equals to V squared. Okay, to get the value of V, take the square root of both sides. So I'm going to have V equals to square root of 2025. Okay, the square root of 2025, let's see, the square root of 2025 is equals to 45. So now the value of V, don't forget the units, okay? The value of V is equals to 45 kilometer per hour. Do you understand? Okay, so that is the solution to both partial variation questions. So if you come across this in your exam, I'm very sure you'll be able to solve it. Now let me give you the steps in solving partial variation question. You see, almost all the partial variation question, if not all, well, it depends on the question, but all partial variation question leads to a simultaneous equation. Are you getting it? Because when you are dealing with partial variation, you are going to have a single variable which part of it is constant and part of it varies with respect to another variable. So just like we have here, part of the resistance is constant and a part varies with respect to the speed. Are you getting it? So you can see now, and when we write the value of R as a single entity, we have R equals to C plus KV squared, because the total R, a part is partly constant and a part of it is partly varies. So if you want to write a single expression for R, you're going to have something like this. So now with respect to the information that you're going to be given, you're going to be given something like this. So you substitute the value to get two equations, then you solve the two equations simultaneously to get the value of the constant and the proportionality constant. When you are done with that, then you can do whatever you have to do in the question. Do you understand? If you have any question, let me know in the comment section. Okay, so that will be all for this class. See you in the next class.